Burned alive at 12. The Shanda Sharer murder. It began like an ordinary Friday night, January 10, 1992. Madison, Indiana. A small, quiet town where nothing bad was supposed to happen. But that night, 12-year-old Shanda Sharer, a bright, bubbly 7th grader with braces and big dreams, stepped out of her home for what she thought was a harmless meeting with a friend. By sunrise, she would become the victim of one of the most disturbing crimes in American history. Murdered and burned alive by 4 teenage girls. This wasn't a random act of violence. It was premeditated revenge, driven by jealousy, obsession, and teenage rage. The story begins with a love triangle. Shanda had recently started a sweet middle school relationship with Amanda Heavrin, another girl her age. But Amanda had an ex, Melinda Loveless, a 16-year-old who was consumed with jealousy and anger. Melinda was volatile, emotionally unstable, and obsessed with Amanda. When she learned that Amanda had moved on with Shanda, something inside her snapped. She told friends she wanted to scare Shanda. But her idea of scare was about to become something much darker. She recruited 3 girls, Laurie Tackett, Rippey, and Toni Lawrence, to help her. And so, on that freezing night, they drove to Shanda's house, claiming Amanda wanted to see her. Shanda hesitated, but teenage trust and curiosity overpowered her instincts. She got in the car. That was the moment her fate was sealed. The girls didn't take Shanda to see Amanda. They drove her into the woods, where Melinda confronted her face to face. She pulled a knife, threatened her, made her cry. Then they stuffed her in the trunk, alive, and drove around for hours, laughing, listening to music, and checking on her screams. At one stop, they dragged her out again, beat her, strangled her until she passed out. Then, thinking she was dead, they shoved her back in the trunk. But Shanda wasn't dead. She woke up in the dark, burned, bruised, and terrified, begging to go home. Near dawn, the girls drove to a remote country road. They wrapped her in a blanket, doused her with gasoline, and set her on fire. It was a crime so cruel that even seasoned detectives would later call it pure evil. The next morning, hunters found a smoldering body in a field. They thought it was a mannequin, until they got closer. The investigation moved fast. A few days later, the killers broke down and confessed. Their stories were chilling, emotionless, even gleeful. Toni Lawrence, racked with guilt, went to the police first. The others followed. When detectives realized all 4 were teenage girls, and that their victim was just 12, the nation reeled. The courtrooms were filled with disbelief. People asked, how could children commit something this monstrous? The girls were convicted. Their sentences ranged from 20 to 60 years, none old enough for the death penalty. Melinda Loveless, the ringleader, received the harshest sentence. But the story didn't end there. Years later, Shanda's mother, Shanda Sharer, did something few could comprehend. She forgave them, even meeting Rippey face to face. Her forgiveness wasn't weakness. It was survival. It was the only way to live with the unimaginable. Shanda's story became a mirror reflecting the darkest corners of teenage emotion, jealousy, insecurity, and cruelty, and how quickly they can spiral into something irreversible. This isn't just the story of a murder. It's the story of innocence destroyed by obsession, and a mother's impossible grace in the face of evil. This is Trial and Terror. Do not forget to like, share, subscribe, and join us next time, as we dive into the darkest crimes and coldest mysteries the world has ever known. Until then, stay curious, stay cautious, and remember, justice begins with truth.